three. Colbert converts again.
Outside to Clavell. Oh, on 20-footer. Good! Bounce past the Duffy's left hand.
CTV Sports!
Good evening and a happy Halloween to all. Thanks for watching this week's CTV Sports. I'm Olivia Landis, a.k.a. Riff Raff, a.k.a. Jody High Roller.
And I'm Karlee Schwatzkopf, or better known as Elsa. Hey Riff Raff, sorry if it's a little cold in here, I forgot my gloves.
It's all good, baby. I like it a little icy.
So, Jody High Roller, what do you think about the World Series?
I'm actually super excited that they're going to a Game 6 because, you know, with the Indians ahead 3-1, I was a little concerned for the Cubs. I'd really like to see them take it.
Yeah, I think I want the Cubs to win too, but I also think it'd be pretty funny if they lost because they haven't won a World Series since there was sliced bread.
I don't know if funny is the word. It seems a little bit more sad, but yeah. Well, the Colorado State volleyball team brought home a solid sweep against Utah State this past weekend after returning from a 3-match road trip. The Rams moved up to 9-2 in Mountain West play and held the Aggies to a subtle .099 hitting average. CSU got off to a fast start in the first set and didn't let up for the rest of the match. The Rams kept control of the game while taking the lead in all of the sets, except for the start of the third, where the Aggies jumped to a quick start but were unable to maintain their momentum. Kirstie Hillier played big for the Rams after tallying 11 kills on the match, making it the 7th time she has finished a game in double digits for kills. Hillier also finished that match averaging a career-high .476 hitting percentage. The Rams never hit below .268 in a set against Utah State and totaled .350 for the game. CSU will remain in Fort Collins to host top Mountain West contender UNLV this Thursday at 7 p.m. Now, Elsa, this team has been pretty impressive so far this season. However, they are one game behind UNLV and Boise State. I think this is going to be an extremely tough match heading into this Thursday's game.
I think so too. This is going to be a good sign to see where CSU has come this season. They've played really well, but they got to step it up this weekend.
And Coach Tom Hilbert has mentioned it that this is probably the most competitive he's seen the Mountain West in a while, and that's going to show with the Rams record. They haven't lost Mountain West play in a few years, and they've lost 2 so far, so this is going to be a great match to see. And the fans had some reactions against that Utah State game. Let's check and see what Mike Brohard said this weekend on Twitter. USU might want to attack the other side. Paletto, Hugard, Jensen pair up for 2 blocks in a row. Rams lead 16-8 at Aggies chat.
Yeah,
What do you take from that?
Well, what I take from that is that the CSU Rams volleyball team can play really well together no matter what. As you mentioned before, that they have lost 2 Mountain West games. I think that's good for the CSU Rams team. They win every Mountain West game. It's good to see them have some competition this year.
Yeah, and looking at that tweet, I think he was also talking a little bit about the players positioning those middle blockers. You know, we have Paulina and Kirstie Hillier and Alexandra Paletto are so used to being in that middle blocking position. He had to switch Alexandra Paletto to that right attack because of an injury, and you know, it just shows that his team is able to adjust and still play well even if they're in a position they're not used to.
That's a huge statement about the CSU women's volleyball team. No matter what, they can adapt. They can play really well. No matter what, they're going to do what it takes to win.
Absolutely. Well, Coach Hilbert was happy to see his team bounce back and snag a win against Utah State this past weekend.
I'm glad we got a win. I'm glad we won in 3. I'm glad we played well. Takes us into, you know, another home weekend in which we need to play well, and I think it helps the team. They feel like they're in more of a flow. So I'm very pleased about that, and I think it's important. Every win, though, is very important at this point. I think we need to win out because I think the other teams that are good in this league are going to continue to play well.
This past week, I was able to sit down with CSU women's soccer coach Bill Hempen and discuss the remainder of the season. Welcome to this week's Colorado State Women's Soccer Update with head coach Bill Hempen. I'm Olivia Landis. Coach, thank you for joining us today.
Always happy to be here.
So you guys are nearing the end of your season and all of your home games are done. What would you say is the biggest accomplishment you have seen your team from this season so far?
And the record doesn't necessarily dictate this.
But something that that we mentioned, or I mentioned with you before, is the resiliency of these kids. They're not dragging out the practice. They're not dragging out the games. They come to practice energized. Hey, let's go. Let's try to win the next one. And in the games, all the way down to the wire, they're in it. They're not giving in to anything that anybody could be thinking or saying about them. They just keep playing. They keep playing their hearts out, and that's a great place for us to be.
How does that feel as a coach to really have a team that no matter what their record shows and how many losses come their way, they still come to practice prepared and really energized and ready to go? Yeah,
I've thought about that a lot from being a student athlete myself. I don't know where I would be at this point, but it makes you feel good. It means you're doing something right. You've got great leadership with the kids in the program. The captains have been fantastic, and all those things come into play. And it's at some point those simple things, those little things, are gonna push us through the ceiling that we're currently under. So turning it just a little bit, knowing the season you've had so far, what would you say you would like to see different from your team production-wise for next season? Well, look, every team's going to make a mistake. Every kid's going to make a mistake. How the heck, I'm going to make a mistake when I put a sub in. Maybe I picked the wrong sub. It's just limiting those moments and executing in the crucial time of the game. Instead of hitting the post, aim a little inside, because we certainly have hit enough goal posts this year that could have changed our season completely. And so those are the things. It's just that. Looking for that one kid that has that stroke of magic on a game-to-game basis that allows us to come out on the winning side. And how much would you say, just so far these past 4 years, how much of a learning experience has this been, not only for the ladies, for you as well? It's been an incredible experience. How we started with half of a club team and kids off the IM field that first year to now having graduated that first group of kids. It's been great learning about these kids and watching them grow up before my eyes. Like I said, the leadership of Amy, who is a 4-year starter for us, and watching her go from a unassuming little freshman to a point of in her life that will really springboard her onto what lies ahead for her in life. And the same thing with Taylor as well. Well, that's great to hear. Well, that wraps up this week's women's soccer update with Coach Bill Hempen. I'm Olivia Landis. Well, unfortunately, the Rams' Wyoming rivalry game didn't go quite as the Rams had hoped.
That's right. As a matter of fact, their season did come to a close after the loss. The women's soccer team finished up its last match of the season this past Friday against Wyoming. The Rams ended up falling to the Cowgirls 1-0. Colorado State finished its season 3-14-2 and 1-9-1 in the Mountain West. The match was an intense game as the match remained scoreless until the 65th minute of play. Late in the game, CSU fired 2 shots on the goal in the last 15 minutes of action, but a turnover at midfield led to a Wyoming goal, finishing the match 1-0. Special congrats to Colorado State seniors Taylor Nelson, Bethany Strivers, Jessica Joachim, Cassidy Dietrich, Amy Eckhart, and Shelby Bowden on their soccer career at Colorado State.
Well, it's now time for a short break, but when we return, we'll have more updates on CTV Sports.
Into KCSU, your student-run radio station at Colorado State University. Live 24 hours a day, every day at 90.5 FM and kcsufm.com. Live local new music now, and news, talk, and sports. KCSU, the radio voice of Colorado State, on the air since 1964.
You're watching CTV, produced by Colorado State University students, bringing you news, weather, sports, and entertainment from campus and beyond. CTV live Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. on campus and Fort Collins on Channel 11. Repeats at midnight, 8 a.m., noon, and 2 p.m.
The Rocky Mountain Collegian is your student-run news and information platform. Pick up your paper on campus or around Fort Collins Monday through Thursday with special editions Fridays. And check out collegian.com anytime for all the latest updates. News, sports, entertainment, opinion, and more. The Rocky Mountain Collegian, serving Colorado State since 1891.
College Avenue has been your student magazine for the last 10 years. College Avenue prints once a month covering topics that are relevant to the CSU and Fort Collins community. We also print special editions like the graduation guides at the end of each semester, the best of CSU each fall, and the orientation guide each summer. Look for us on racks around campus, off campus, or online at collegian.com under the College Avenue tab.
CSU Cross Country's Gerald Mock recorded his second consecutive standout performance at the Mountain West Men's and Women's Cross Country Championships. Mock's second place finish with a time of 23 minutes and 57 seconds led the Rams to a second place overall finish in an extremely competitive meet on Friday from the Falcon Crest Golf Course in Kuna, Idaho. Mock's finish marked the first time since 2012 that an individual runner recorded back-to-back top finishes at the Mountain West Cross Country Championship. More top finishers for the men's team included Eric Hamer and Carson Hume, both finishing in 15th and 16th place. On the women's side, the Rams took fourth place, with Janelle Links earning an All-Mountain West second team honor, leading the Rams with a ninth place finish and time of 20 minutes and 48 seconds.
The Colorado State men's golf team started off strong this past weekend, competing in the Warrior Princeville Invitational. The three-day 54-hole tournament included over 15 teams, where the CSU Rams started off at the top, posting a combined 6 birdies and 2 eagles with just 3 bogeys in the first several holes. The Rams found themselves high on the leaderboard, however, later in the tournament, San Diego tied CSU and Mississippi taking the #1 spot. Individually, CSU Rams Max Olflick tied for 8th at 3 under 69, and senior Blake Cannon was next in a tie at 16th with 1 under 71 in a round that had 4 birdies and an eagle. Colorado State head coach Kristen Newton hopes his team will come together later in the season, stating, quote, "Max and Blake had nice rounds today. We're going to need better play from the rest of the team. The capability is there. We just need to execute better," end quote. The Rams played their second round today, and results will be up tomorrow.
Sophomore Haley Rowley dominated in her 3 individual events Friday to lead the Colorado State women's swimming and diving team to its second win of the season. Head coach Woody Woodard said, quote, "She's also so easygoing and gregarious, but when she hits the water, she's a fierce competitor," end quote. The fierceness of this CSU team did not let up as 6 more Rams went on to win individual events, including the Mountain West Diver of the Week, Emily Williams. The senior took home the award for the first time last week and continued to find room for improvement on the boards Friday night, scoring a season high of 266.18, which was good enough for an NCAA qualifying cut. The Rams will train these next 2 weeks before heading to Texas in the first non-dual meet of the season at the Phil Hansel Invite, hosted at the University of Houston, November 18th through the 20th.
Well, it's time for another short break, but coming up, I venture to the CSU Plaza to test some Rams on their sports knowledge.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
Well, it's always interesting to see and understand exactly what CSU fans know about CSU's sports.
That's right. As a matter of fact, we were so curious, I decided to take the Plaza today and see how much students at Colorado State actually know about CSU sports.
So there's been some quarterback debacle with the CSU football team. Do you know who our starting quarterback is now?
Nick Stevens.
Football team this year. Do you know who the starting quarterback is now?
I don't know. I'm sorry about that.
Football team. Do you know who our starting quarterback is?
No, I do not.
Do you know who the starting quarterback is?
I don't.
Okay. Do you know who the CSU men's football coach is?
Mike Bobo.
Can you name the CSU men's football coach?
No, I cannot.
Can you name the CSU men's football coach?
Nope.
Do you know who the CSU men's football coach is?
Mike Bobo.
Can you name one football player on the CSU football team?
I can't even do that.
Can you name a CSU football player?
Colin Hill.
Can you name a CSU football player?
Honestly, no, I cannot.
Can you name a CSU football player?
Yeah, Braxton Davis. He's the kicker.
Cool. Can you name a CSU football player?
Nope.
Have you guys name a CSU football player?
To be honest, I cannot.
Okay.
I don't think we have football in Mordor.
Can you name a CSU football player?
Marvin Kinsey Jr., freshman running back.
And our CSU women's volleyball team is really talented as well. Do you know who the CSU women's volleyball coach is?
I do not, but I know the marketing intern, Cody Von Ruden.
Do you know who the CSU women's volleyball coach is?
I do not.
Do you know who the CSU women's volleyball coach is?
Nope.
What's your favorite sports team for CSU?
I'd probably have to say the girls volleyball team because they've been killing it lately.
Nice. Who's your favorite CSU sports team?
I would say the football team because those are the most games that I go to.
What's your favorite sports team at CSU?
Got to be the football team.
What's the best team at Colorado State?
Women's basketball team.
Elsa, I don't know about you, but it sure is spooky to see some of these students' reactions.
Absolutely. They weren't turned off by my frozenness.
I wouldn't be either. Well, that wraps up this week's special Halloween CTV Sports segment.
Make sure to follow us on Twitter to keep up with the rest of our sports coverage for the week. And have a safe and fun Halloween, Rams.